The grand opening of the Whitmore House of Hope arrived faster than either of them had expected. Reporters gathered at the gates, guests filled the newly restored West Wing, and the sound of music drifted through the once silent mansion. Evelyn stood before the mirror in her study, adjusting the silver clasp on her dress, her reflection almost unrecognizable from the woman she had been just months ago. Nathan entered quietly, his suit perfectly pressed, his smile proud but calm. "You look like the woman I first imagined," he said softly. She turned to him with a small laugh. "And who is that?" "The one who could turn a ghost house into a home," he replied. She shook her head, smiling. "You always say the right things." "That is because they are true," he said, offering his arm. "Ready?" Together they walked down the grand staircase as applause filled the hall. The guests stood, a sea of familiar faces, investors, old family friends, even board members who once doubted her. Evelyn took a deep breath and stepped forward to speak. "For years this house stood as a reminder of loss," she began, her voice steady and clear. "But today it becomes a symbol of hope. My family's name carried pain for too long. From this moment, it will stand for healing, for second chances, and for the belief that what is broken can be made whole again." The crowd erupted in applause, flashes from cameras filling the room. Nathan watched her, admiration in his eyes. She had never looked stronger, more certain. But then, just as she stepped away from the podium, a man's voice cut through the celebration. "What a lovely speech, Evelyn. Almost convincing." The room fell silent. A tall man in a dark suit stood near the back, his expression smug, his gaze locked on Evelyn. Nathan's stomach tightened. He recognized him instantly. Vincent Hale, the family's former financial advisor, and one of the people who had tried to block the foundation. Evelyn's face hardened. "Vincent," she said coolly, "you are not on the guest list." He smirked. "You never liked surprises. I only came to congratulate you on rebuilding this place, with the money your husband's father stole." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Evelyn froze, but Nathan stepped forward, his voice sharp. "That is a lie, and you know it." Vincent held up a folder. "Is it? Because I have documents that say otherwise. Your little charity might be built on stolen wealth." How poetic. Reporters began murmuring, cameras flashing again, now for all the wrong reasons. Evelyn's heart pounded. The whispers she had fought so hard to silence were coming back. Nathan took her hand, squeezing it firmly. "Do not let him control the story," he whispered. She straightened, turning back to the crowd. "Mr. Hale's accusations are not new. They are the same lies that destroyed two families years ago. But today, we have the truth, and the truth stands before you." Nathan stepped beside her, his voice unwavering. "We have opened every record, every account. The Whitmore legacy is clean, and this foundation belongs to no one's greed but everyone's hope." The room fell silent again. Then, slowly, applause began to rise, first from the front row, then from the entire hall. Vincent's smirk faltered as security moved in to escort him out. Evelyn exhaled shakily, tears forming in her eyes. Nathan leaned close, whispering, "You faced them, Evelyn, and you won." She turned toward him, her voice trembling. "No, Nathan, we won." And in that moment, surrounded by the echoes of applause, they both knew that the ghosts of the past had finally lost their power. When the last guest had left, and the lights of the West Wing dimmed, silence settled over the mansion once more. But it was no longer the kind of silence that haunted. It was the quiet that follows peace, the soft hum of something new beginning. Evelyn stood at the balcony overlooking the garden, the evening air cool against her skin. Below, lanterns swayed gently in the breeze, reflections of light dancing on the marble path. Nathan joined her, his jacket loosened, his face tired but content. "You did it," he said softly. "We did it," she corrected, her lips curling into a faint smile. "Though I have to admit, I thought for a moment that man would ruin everything." Nathan chuckled, resting his hand on the railing beside hers. "He tried, but the truth held stronger than his lies. You faced him without flinching, Evelyn. That is what real strength looks like." She looked up at him, her eyes glimmering under the light. "You think I am strong? I know you are," he said. "You rebuilt this house, this legacy, and somehow you rebuilt me too." She turned toward him fully, the wind tugging softly at her hair. "Do you ever wonder if all of this meeting me, marrying me, uncovering everything was fate?" Nathan paused, then smiled. "If it was, then I am finally grateful for fate. For a moment they simply stood there, watching the night stretch out before them. The stars scattered across the sky like a promise. Evelyn reached into her pocket and pulled out a small key, old and worn, the same one that once locked the west wing. She placed it in Nathan's palm. "No more secrets," she said. "Keep it as a reminder of what we survived." Nathan closed his hand around it. "No locked doors," he whispered. Their eyes met, and this time there was no distance, no fear. Only the quiet certainty of two people who had walked through fire and come out whole. He leaned in and kissed her, slow and steady, the kind of kiss that sealed more than love, it sealed forgiveness. When they finally pulled apart, Evelyn laughed softly, her voice lighter than it had ever been. "So what now, Mr. Carter?" Nathan smiled. "Now, Mrs. Carter, we live. For the first time, we actually live." She rested her head against his shoulder as the last lantern flickered out below, and in the darkness that followed, the mansion no longer felt like a monument to sorrow, it felt like the beginning of forever. A year later, the Whitmore House of Hope had become more than a foundation. It had become a heartbeat for the community. The once cold mansion now echoed with laughter, the footsteps of children running through the same halls that had once carried only whispers. Evelyn stood in the garden, the morning sunlight spilling over the flowers she had planted herself. She wore no diamonds now, no symbols of power, only a simple white dress and a content smile. Nathan walked toward her, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "You still wake up before everyone else," he said, handing her one. She smiled, brushing her fingers against his. "Old habits. The house feels different when it is quiet." He looked around, taking in the sight of life blooming everywhere, the volunteers, the new classrooms, the art displayed along the hallways. "It feels alive because of you," he said. "Because of us," she corrected gently. "We both chose to start over." Nathan nodded, setting down his cup. "Speaking of starting over." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Evelyn's breath caught as he opened it to reveal a simple gold ring. "The first time I put a ring on your finger, it was part of a deal," he said softly. "This time it is a promise. No contracts, no conditions. Just love." Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "Yes, Nathan, 1,000 times yes." He slipped the ring onto her finger, and the garden erupted in quiet applause from the staff who had gathered nearby. Evelyn laughed through her tears, her heart full. "So this is what freedom feels like," she said. Nathan wrapped his arms around her, pulling her close. "No, this is what home feels like," he whispered. And as the bells of the foundation chimed in the distance, the house that had once been built on sorrow now stood as a monument to hope, love, and second chances, their new beginning written in sunlight.